Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you guys here tuned into the show. Today is the 26th of January in 2020. Let me see, where's my charts? Give me a second here. Okay, let's open the charts right here and let's take a look at what's going on. This is our stock market right here. Let me pull forward a little bit, And you can see nothing but up, 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 up. This is looking at the stock market over quite a long period of time here. This is like a 5-year chart, and this little tiny down, this little titter down on the end, it's almost matters to nothing. It almost means nothing, is what we've seen so far with the reaction to this virus in China. And overall, a lot of problems within the overall general economy, like take, for instance, the repo market problems. The Fed is actually in in panic mode right now, trying to control the heart of the economic structure through monetary stimulus. And things are in place that could bring the economy down without having the added measure of a virus out there, and the cities in China, I've seen pictures from like Wuhan and certain cities in China. These cities, are basically shutting down. The economy goes to zero. So whenever this virus moves to another city in China or wherever, it doesn't matter, it's going to shut down the economy. Basically, an economic zero. It can shut it right down to practically zero. All the stores close. People quit. People go home, and the streets are empty. Let's take a look at the U.S. 10-year Treasury right now. And what we're looking at is this drop that we see starting on the 23rd of this month. We see this drop in yields of the U.S. 10-year. It's down at 1.68 today. It's dropped 5 basis points just in the last day. This drop is investors panicking. Big investors panicking and buying U.S. Treasuries as a safe haven asset against what they see coming, the potential of what they see coming. They're even moving. They're even starting to move a little bit. Look at the silver price today. They're moving a little bit into silver. We see the price ended the week up at $18.10 for silver. Let's take a look at gold. $15.71. It ended the week up for gold. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies, it went up quite high. It went up to like $241 billion for the industry. Right now, it did go back down to like 230, and now it's back up to 236.7. Let me refresh the page and see which direction it's moving. Yeah, 236.7. So it's catching a little small bid, cryptocurrency is. But so is gold and silver are catching a small bid. The bond market is a huge market. Let's take a look now. Let's go back. We took a look at the 10-year. Let's just take a look at the overall bond market. And let me close the chart in so you guys can see it. And what we're looking at is yields dropping all the way across the board. That means they're buying bonds like crazy. See, bonds work inverse from everything else. When yields fall on bonds, it means they're buying them. And all we see is red across the board. It means they're buying like crazy. They're dropping yields, except for the U.S. 1 month. Its yield is risen, but it's only risen a very small amount. All the others extending out from the 3-month all the way to the 30-year. We got really significantly rising bond yields. This shows the fear in investors right now. They're frightened. Well, I know what the biggest thing they're frightened of. They're frightened that this virus that's in China is going to spread beyond China. That's what they're frightened of, and affect the overall world economy. They're also frightened of the fact that it's going to have a profound effect upon the Chinese economy. China was already getting ready to go into a slowdown, and this is going to make the whole thing huge. Now, a point that I want to make out, if we go back here to the Dow Jones, and we can see how high it's pumped up. A point I want to make is a point I made in the show from a day ago. You know, I said that what's the chances of the World Health Organization declaring this a world emergency, this virus? They didn't. They convened an emergency meeting over it, and they said it's not. It's not a global health issue. It's not a global health emergency. Not yet, they said, but they said we can reconvene and we'll have it. You know, we could make it one in the future. They didn't rule out that possibility. And I think rather than rule it out, I think that myself at this point, from what I'm seeing of news coming out of China, I feel like that the possibility of them declaring it a global health emergency, the World Health Organization, I think is very high in my estimation. Now, that's my opinion, but I think that it's very high, probably in the next 2 weeks. They're going to declare, I think, and this is my personal opinion, that they're going to declare it a global health emergency. Watch what happens when they make that declaration. Watch, and probably this week. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if before this week is out that it's declared. Watch what happens to the stock market. Because the stock market knows what this does to what this would do. If you just take a look at the streets of Wuhan, China right now, normally bustling, full of activity, people, Chinese people driving down the streets, you know, just crowds of people going and doing their thing, you know. The streets are empty. And they're going to be empty as far as the eye can see into the foreseeable future. What does this do to commerce? What does this do to the consumer? The only thing that's been holding the United States economy up is the consumer, you know? And even though this virus is not in America right now, to a certain large degree. Now, I'm not saying it's not there because I know that there's been cases, sporadic cases here and there, just a case here and there. But for overall, it's not really in America yet, you know? But the fear of this generates, you're going to see more empty shopping malls. You're going to see more empty shopping places. You're going to see less people on the street now because people are becoming aware and they're frightened. Just that fear factor alone is going to have an effect upon the next quarter of our economy. Watch. That's if the virus doesn't go anywhere, if it just stays in China. Still, if the carryover of that fear is going to have an effect upon the economy. And, you know, I think it's going to end up being something much bigger than that, than just fear myself. My personal opinion on it is that I've advocated for quite a long time to you guys to clean out a closet in your house and store away some bottled water, some food, a medical kit, and a little bit of money in cash away for yourselves. I've advocated that for a long time, and I want to emphasize that to a higher degree even today than normal. I think it's more important than ever that you take the time to do that. It probably wouldn't take very long. You know the closet, you open up the door and everything spills out. It's full of old basketballs and full of old badminton clubs and all this kind of stuff. You don't need all that garbage, all that old sports equipment and stuff. You don't need that. That ain't going to help you. What's going to help you is some bottled water, some canned food, a little bit of dry rice or something you can cook with. Maybe your power might even go out. You might want to think about having a little propane stove or something, you know? Of course, now here's the thing. If you get a propane stove, remember to crack a window open, you know? And oftentimes, the thing is you're best doing it outside on the front of your house. Set up a little table out front of your house, rather than use those indoors. But at least you'd have the ability to cook if the power goes out. So a lot of people have electric stoves. If you already got a gas stove in the house, make sure you have enough gas to last you through a crisis. Water is so important. The human body can only go 48 hours without water, and more than that, and you're done. You dehydrate. You die from dehydration. So many things we actually need to survive. Our ancestors needed these things to survive, and they knew how to provide these things for themselves. They always had a place to go to get water, a spring or something, or a well. Our water source is a grocery store. That's a water source that can get cut off. Bang! It's done. It's empty. No water. Okay, you got to think about these things. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.